Hi, I'm John Bjordanov, and I am a cyber software engineer. In the past, I've also functioned as an information system security engineer, or ISE. I've been at it for going on 40 years. I have certifications from the Global Information Assurance certification, and those are in general security, certified in incident handling, and penetration testing.
My name is Andreas Papacharoulampis. I am a freshman student at Towson University. Right now, I'm working as a junior software developer over at Secure Ed, which is a cybersecurity education nonprofit startup. And I mostly work on web applications and backend web applications.
If you're using passwords, the password should be something that you can remember, but something that is not easily guessed. Length is more important than complexity. The main thing is that you have to remember it. If you have something that's so complex that you don't know what it is, then it isn't very good. So having passwords, or better yet, two-factor authentication that you can use and do use, and don't share them. Don't share them with other people, and certainly do not reuse the same password on other systems.
If it's possible, you could also use a password manager to, if you would like to create more complex and longer passwords. It's not necessarily required, but if you are looking to create more randomized, complex passwords, password managers are definitely a very important tool to have. And for the more extreme cases, using something like a security key, a physical security key, or your fingerprint or Face ID on your phone to use as two-factor authentication, that's definitely a choice that you can make.
Only if they're used and understood. If somebody doesn't understand what they're doing, and they just push a button, and the automated testing runs through and says, oh, everything's fine, and they don't look into it to really understand what's going on, it gives you a false sense of security that, oh, everything is great, and then it turns out that you either weren't, or if you weren't testing things that you should have been, or if it wasn't configured properly. That can actually be a bad thing, because again, you can think everything is fine, and then something happens, a breach happens that you weren't expecting. I mean, it's not an afterthought. It's not, okay, we have it, everything is working now. What are we going to do about security? No, that it needs to be built in, and at every level, so that everything works together.
And something as simple as having a bad SQL query can definitely, it can ruin a lot of things. And you know, it has brought companies down before.
Not applying patches that need to be done. Like Andreas mentioned, just blindly accepting user input, terrible idea. Always sanitize, validate the input. Make sure it doesn't, that somebody can't enter something that's too long. A phone number, or phone number formatted for the Western world is, or most of the Western world is like 334 for the input. If you allow free-form text into any field, but let's say a phone number, somebody, instead of just putting in the phone number, force feeds 10,000 characters or something like that. If you're not ready to handle that, if you don't prevent that on the software side, it can cause all sorts of issues in the code.
I think the biggest concern would obviously be humans, because you know, we don't always do things perfectly. And for example, would be writing code. We're not always good at writing code. We don't always write the perfect amount of code. We don't do it properly. And so one way you can mitigate that concern, the concern of humans, is to also just have other humans look at your mistakes. Take other people and take them to look at your code, and just making sure that we have checks in place to make sure that we as humans make sure that we don't let other people write bad code.
Have a plan. Have a plan, stick to it. Have a plan for the development. Have a plan for the deployment. Have a plan for if there's a breach or any sort of incident. Sometimes things may look like an incident and they're not really. Sometimes things that don't look like an incident actually are, and you have to be able to determine what those things are and have a plan already in place. Not, oh, what are we going to do? You have to know, if this happens, we're going to cordon off these computers so that nobody else can access them. Preserve the state of everything. So that legal and investigative, the FBI or other legal things can come in and see where things happen and possibly prosecute whoever did it.
Secure yourself, I would say, because every person is the first point of contact, or the first sort of line of defense. You as a person is the first line of defense for a company.